Welcome to the bold analysis. A section of Azimio MPs last weekend raised concerns about Speaker Moses Wetangula's bias, especially on the opposition politicians that are contributing about different bills tabled in Parliament. And I think I was somewhere when I was watching the Homa Bay Women Rep, Bensouda, pointing out and asking Wetangula at least to be fair as they start the 2024 sessions, as the Parliament sessions resume. And this was the soundbite of Bensouda. Now, and I think when I listened to it, I treated this as just mere the politics, because there have been a bit of a scuffle between Raila Odinga and Moses Wetangula, and I think it was just a continuation of that. But this latest update from Parliament is really confirming what that MP, the fear that MP was talking about. Speaker Moses Wetangula now is saying that cabinet secretaries will be spared from answering questions raised by parliamentarians before the House went on holiday in December. And the MPs are asking why. Of course, this is a discretion that the Speaker have, but the parliamentarians are raising questions and saying that this is an abuse of those powers and privileges of the Speaker. Now, there were some certain businesses that were dispensed with at the end of the second session, and they're saying that they are deemed to have lapsed. 281 questions were sent to cabinet secretaries last year. Only 15 questions were responded to, leaving others, more than 256, pending responses by respective cabinet secretaries. These questions were majorly touching on Treasury, led by Njuguna Ndung'u. The other one was touching on Moses Kuria. I think it was all about the e-citizens and all that. And then there were also some questions that were touching on infrastructure, transport, led by Murkomen, and also energy. Now, these questions were pending. And Alice Wahome, there were also some questions on demolitions about affordable housing. Now, these questions were pending, and MPs are saying they have not expired. Kenyans really need these answers. And one of the most contentious one is this one here about CDF money. And listen to Jeanette. I think he made a comment about this.
Yes, Jeanette, you have a point of order?
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Mr. Speaker, I am guided fully by your direction on the earlier matter of the CDF.
Yes.
But Mr. Speaker, you are also right that we need to have the House Business Committee so that we get into motion.
Yes.
So that we can do business of the House. But Mr. Speaker, the fear of the members is that, if I may bring it to your attention, is that once House gets into business as supposed to be, the executive will not honor their word, they will not keep their word, it will be business as usual. And some of the reasons why the members are raising this matter ahead of the constitution of the House Business Committee is actually to paralyze the House, so that members can get their CDF in time and money can be released to those accounts, Mr. Speaker. So I don't know, Mr. Speaker, how those fears will be allayed. Because if we go back into business as required, because this is the first day of our meeting, of our sitting, then it will be business as usual also for the Treasury Minister. And you will assume that Parliament now is sitting normal. What is this message that we can send to him that we are serious on this matter and we will not relent with the Speaker? And one of the things that members have agreed upon to be as a whip that I can bring to attention is to paralyze the House once and for all, Mr. Speaker. So, Mr. Speaker, don't allow the House business motion to be moved until money is released to the account of the CDF, Mr. Speaker.
Honorable Jeanette, you know one of the most important strategic thinking components is you must choose your battles very carefully. if you want to do what you're saying you want to do, paralyze a properly constituted house. There's no point paralyzing a house that is not a house yet. Because if you do that, even if you want to frog march the minister here, to flog him and grill him and do whatever you want with him, he cannot come because you will not be properly constituted. So choose your battles very carefully. So what I have a letter which I'll share with the majority and minority leaders from the minister dated 9th January 2024 to Mr. Speaker, detailing how they intend to disburse your funds. And now it's up to them to also do a follow-up.
Now, so it actually waters down the whole essence, the spirit of allowing cabinet to appear before parliament so that they can explain what the executive is doing. Remember, the decision for cabinet even to appear before parliament was floated by William Ruto himself, and he said that that was part of the Kenya Kwanza elaborate plan to ensure that government is transparent and accountable, and they also explained to the Kenyans what their respective ministries are doing in terms of the different roles they're supposed to play. But what is the essence? And I remember the opposition side opposed it, but they got the support of they actually got the support of Justice Lawrence Mugambi, who ruled that Senate and the National Assembly were right to amend their standing orders to grill cabinet secretaries. So got their way in it. Now, if you want to know there is a sinister motive around it, the Speaker Wetangula is saying that cabinet secretaries will only respond to questions that were floated by Majority Leader Kimani Ichung'wah. But all the others that were asked by other MPs before the parliament went for recess are not going to be answered, and they will be deemed to have lapsed. So you look at that ruling, and the parliamentarians are saying this is not the right thing. Now I want you to listen to another video today. I think this is also another one, and why KJ is actually saying, and actually leaked, that parliament is empty because UDA MPs, it is not yet constituted fully because a number of UDA MPs have skipped the sessions.
Honorable Speaker, on 5th December, you as the head of this independent institution called Parliament, you did communicate to this House and indicated to us that by 20th December, we'll be getting our CDF into our accounts. So even as we support you, Honorable Speaker, our concern would be a situation where the Honorable Speaker, who is the head of this institution, will keep on giving official communication to this House, and the letter and the spirit of that communication is never respected. So, Honorable Speaker, we want to agree with you that we have whatever, we continue, but I think, Honorable Speaker, it is very important that whatever you communicate to us as our boss is respected by all other authorities in this country. I thank you, Honorable Speaker.
You. I think we should, on the same issue. Yes, KJ.
Mr. Speaker, I rise on standing order number 1. Mr. Speaker, I would require your attention. Mr. Speaker, I'm rising on standing order number 1, invoking your discretion, asking for you to actually call this House to order and get onto the procedural business that we need to do so that we can constitute this House properly, because everything that we discuss now, it holds no water, Mr. Speaker. In fact, it is an effort in futility to go into a debate before we have constituted the House properly. So, Mr. Speaker, I'm calling upon you and just pleading with you to use your discretion and get into the business of the day so that we can constitute the House properly, and that any business that we prosecute will be properly and procedurally before the House. Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you. Next order.
So, Why is it that UDA MPs, because according to reports, they're the ones, majority of them have boycotted the parliament sessions, and clearly it's about lamentations about this treasury and about the CDF money, because that's the only way they can protest. They're sending a cold warning to the president about CDF. If you want to know things are not simply working well, do you know that before Parliament went to recess, they were promised that the CDF money will hit their accounts by 20th January. They were promised by the Speaker. That is what even another MP has said there. They are promised, but in the spirit of that letter, that had not been addressed. And what Wetangula has done, instead of even explaining, if you're keen, instead of explaining what is in the details of how the treasurer is going to handle the matter, he has shared another paper there, another write-up from the ministry about how that CDF money, the CDF kitty money is going to be dispersed. And I can tell you that if there is something that MPs, I think, from densely populated areas have really felt, is the gap that is existing in terms of the CDF. I have seen now members of parliament from densely populated counties, constituencies in Mount Kenya, especially I think I saw Nyeri and Thika and some parts of Kiambu, complaining that that money is less. Despite the fact that a change was made, some amendments were made that 35% of CDF to go to bursary, but still the amount cannot help. And the newspaper were running stories about how some people are still stranded at home, even as at now. Around 100,000 students who sat for KCSE are yet to report to school because of the fees. So clearly, something is simply not adding up. And again, to Mrs. Wetangula, what is the logic? What is the rationale behind choosing what questions was it to answer and which ones not to answer? Okay, if you know they're supposed to reappear and they were supposed to appear today, they did not appear, because what Speaker Wetangula wants is that MPs to raise new questions, fresh questions. Now, they're yet to get the CDF money. There's some pending issues about demolitions on affordable housing that are still pending. They were yet to be answered. There were some other questions on fuel, the G2G, that Energy CS are supposed to answer. There's some roads questions on Wetangula on Murkomen that are supposed to answer. But then Wetangula is saying, you're not going to answer those questions. The cabinet is not going to answer those questions. We'll move in and you have to bring new questions. And people are asking, surely, how do you even make such a ruling? How do you even arrive at such a ruling? And that is something that is really shocking. Now, this is despite the fact that this move had a goodwill from the president, and cabinet secretaries have been deliberately skipping these summons. In fact, I remember last year, there are some that literally skipped. Even the Treasury CS at one point was in Dubai the day that he was supposed to appear in Parliament, and the report was sent to Parliament. A letter was written to Parliament that, you know what, the cabinet member is not going to come because he's out of the country. So that is bit of what is in the picture, and I want us to look at it critically. But before I do that, I want to humbly request you to subscribe to our channel, and I want to say thank you for those who've been supporting us. Apart from just supporting our political analysis, those also who have been supporting our charity programs. And we completed our February project last week by discharging the 13 women from Mama Lucy Hospital. We're looking up to a very successful, the same in April. And of course, I believe that we will also help. For those who did not get snippet of that, I'm going to share that video towards the end of this video. So just make sure you watch till the end. Why is Wetangula raising this? Why is Wetangula making this move? There are three reasons. Number one, the cabinet is stranded about these disbursements. contrary to an understanding that economy is stabilized, we cannot do this, we cannot do that, counties are still struggling, they're still pending bills on counties, and there is some stagnation, some push and pull between governors, government and commission revenue sharing on the percentage that is going to counties. Even as now, disbursement, there's some pending disbursement from the month of November, and it is still going on. And I think the cabinet, the executive are not having answers for those questions, because it's not about that there are so many businesses that are clogged and that's why it has to happen. But clearly, Ruto is fearing spilling the beans, that cabinet members might actually spill the beans amidst the looming reshuffle. The time there have been really consistent messaging, consistent leaks that William Ruto might reshuffle his cabinet, and towards the end of 2023 there were some that wrote, of course there was hardly reported, that Treasury CS had written some letter for resignation, and even that Treasury, there's some fellows that resigned. Apart from that, there are those bit of reports about William Ruto raising questions about performance of some cabinet secretaries. And now he would not want, and remember, the last time the Treasury released a report, they owned up that G2G was a big flop by the Kenyan government. They owned up, and some members of executive were not so comfortable by the fact that Waziri came out and said that about that project. So I think Ruto is fearing that some of these cabinet members might spill the beans, because maybe they are leaving, they have nothing to lose, they might become not so much economical with the truth and spill the beans. And I want to believe that this is not just a decision that has just been arrived by the Speaker's discretion, under the Speaker's discretion, but it also has the blessings of the President. Number three, I think the executive is realizing that there is waning patronage by the UDA MPs that will take the slightest opportunity available to lynch the members of the executive. Because let be said, if the CDF money has not hit the accounts of MPs, it doesn't only apply to opposition, it's both opposition and government. And so the best way they will actually vent their frustrations on these cabinet members. In any case, something is not adding up and is not fine with them, what will they do? They will actually come out clearly and vent their frustrations and start asking the tough questions on what exactly is happening. And this then points out that sometimes, as much as Wetangula comes out to defend the parliament, that parliament is not captured by the executive, it is just putting a brave face. But what Raila keeps on saying, that parliament is under the watch of, is being remote controlled from State House, is not just a mere political propaganda, because with such decisions, it has a blessings of the bigger man. Thank you.
Hi guys, so I'm so happy finally the February project is done. I know most of us have been talking about this. We did know it will come to fruition, but I'm in Mama Lucy and I've managed to get 13 out. Yes, I was planning for 7, but who knows, God has another way of doing his own things. That we managed to our 13, and apart from that, we've also done some food stuff, because you know these guys hawa mambo wamekuwa hospitali for long na hawajakuwa wakifanya kazi. So what we decided is whatever has remained, we do some food stuff for them. And I'm just so happy that they are going home, wanted to reunite with the rest of their family. Some have been here for long, so I just want to say thank you on behalf of Bold Charity Network, my family, myself, and everyone. In whatever way you've come through this, nasema santeni sana. These women are out. Now I'll just give 2 or 3 chances. Waseme tu kitu moja. You can just say thank you. Tanzania huyu.
Tumeshukuru. Okay, my name is Oduor. Tumeshukuru kwa kuja kututoa huku. Tumekaa huku for long na the bill was too much yenye hatungeweza ku afford. but Bold Charity Network imekuja ikatutoa na tunasema ni asante.
Naitwa Teresia Wanjiru ama Mama Favor. Na nataka kuambia asante kwa sababu bili ilikuwa mob, singeweza kulipa, but kwa ajili ya Mungu ati mimi natoka. Asante, God bless you all.
Nani mwingine anaweza ongea? Wewe, sio? Sema kitu kama tu asante.
Mimi cha kuwashukuru ni kusema asante kwa Mungu. Tumekuwa huku for a long time. Kama mimi nilidischangiwa on 15, nikang'ang'ana, nikapata, nikalipa, nikaambiwa nirudi kwa ward. Saa hii I'm very happy. Niko out, nitaenda sasa kuungana na familia yangu. Asanteni sana.
Mimi naitwa Lydia Chelimo. Pili yangu ilitoka date 16, but singe manage kulipa, but court ameniwezesha nimetoka huku, ndatoka leo. Nimeshukuru sana na nimefurahi.
Yeah, so guys, that was it. I had to give you this confirmation that finally to manage, and may God meet you in the hour of need. I spent 2 days here listening to their stories, and their stories are a testament of how we need to come for the society. For all those who participated in this Bold Charity Network, this was our CSR for the month of February. Akimbarikiwe. We will do this next time. Asanteni sana. I'm more happy than them. Asanteni. Sawa.